Hello. Um, I'm going to flip through two of my latest sketchbook, sketchbooks, art journaling that I've been working on for the last 2 months. Um, if you have some questions, feel free to ask me. Okay. This one I started yesterday. Um, um, I'm not, usually I start with gathering images. Just a minute, I'll bring some. I have boxes like this, and I collect everything I like from magazines, um, scribbles, uh, excuse me, other paper that I use when I work. This is a tea bag, images, landscapes. This is an old postcard, um, pattern paper. I use a lot of landscapes in my work. I'll show you later. Just let me. Okay. These all parts from magazine. I'll show you later how I collect images from magazines like this. I don't have a lot of fashion magazines, but I mainly work with images that from nature, or things that abstract pieces of paper that I use. You see, this is an under paper that I use, and just add some leftover of paint. This is jelly plate printing, stamps, old books with the stamp I did myself and tried it here. This is from an art magazine. I like it. Under paper, jelly print. I have a lot of boxes like this. I try to clean out things, but usually I collect many pieces of papers. Everything can make a start with the page. This is an old book of poems. Everything that interests me. Here, this is a typical example of um, landscape that I use many times in the upper part of the spread. I usually work in spreads. You see this here, I think it was part of this image that I glued here. This was an image from magazine too. And this was an image from magazine. This is part of forest. I connect everything with paint, with pencils, markers. I'll show you later what the tools I'm using. Okay, this I did yesterday, so it's kind of it can be called finished, but maybe I think I will add some illustrative elements here, maybe here, but it tells the story as is at the moment. You can type questions if you want, and I will explain what I'm showing. And just a minute, I want to adjust the camera. Now you see it better, I think. Okay. This is also the base was made using jelly prints, this magazine image, lettering that I'm practicing at the moment. This is from image, I don't remember his name. This spread was about rejection. Why it came out this way? It was part of the process when I worked on it. It just came about. Many times the subject of the spread is something that is showing up from the inside, because it's something that I experiencing inside, and somehow it comes together. I'm not planning spreads ahead. I just start working. I'll show you later how I start. Just even taking random pieces of paper and doing something with them. Uh, the same way this started with this and this. And this was part of under paper. This was on the first layer, and then somehow it came together. It's about fertility. It's about womanhood. I can keep working on it. I can keep adding marks, art marks like this. I like it this way. I can see how I can work on it further, but sometimes I overwork things. So I try to find this point by sometimes working not enough and sometimes overworking, so I can find my own balance. Okay. This is, of course, magazine cut, magazine. This is a window, scribbles paper, napkin. This I made with the Posca pen. This one, This is a fine liner in a bottle that I did not long ago. This spread was totally different in the beginning, but it didn't work for me. So I came back and glued this thing over what was here before, also this photo. And maybe it's too crowded now, but I like looking at this. This is also a photo I took many years ago. When we were traveling. This is a piece of window. This was made with a fine liner. I tried creating 2 dimensions. One dimension is here in front, and this is like inside. Creating layers and dimensions is something that you see a lot in my work, and I think it adds a lot of interest. This was intuitive image abstraction, just put some color, played with this with pencil. Where is it? I brought some of the things I use a lot. This is Lyra water-soluble graphite. Those marks were made with this pencil. I use this sometimes. It's woody in black, also water-soluble. All kinds of colored pencils. Mechanical pencil that I use to sketch sometimes. All sorts of pencils, fine liner, Posca pens. What else is here? Pour markers. This is something that should replace the Posca pen, but it's not so good in my eyes. I have a lot of tools and mark making equipment, and every now and then I replace them. I use gel medium to glue. Sometimes I use the Mod Podge, and sometimes the glue stick. Okay, this also, you see, magazine cut. This was a magazine cut that I continued into the page. This is ink that I've let run towards top like this. This is a vintage photo. This is also magazine piece of flower. people walking. This is also from an old magazine. People walking on a hill. A lot of nature elements, trees, flowers, leaves. This is something that didn't go so well. It already has a few layers. And I also painted over her face because I didn't like how it looked. This is from an old um, health book or some. This is two pieces of a photo I took. Okay. Many times my last layer is adding geometrical pattern, repeated pattern on the top layer. And this I would say is something to demonstrate working too much on something. I like it nevertheless. This is I like how it came, but you see here it's something that became a bit of a mess, so I left it like this. I didn't feel I finished it, but I like the way it is now. This is a painting I did for the course Let's Face It 2020, and I put it into the journal to make a spread with it. I liked this. I liked her face very much. It was a very good experience for me. Um, this, I think it's not finished, but it can be called finished. This is an abstract one. This can be worked further. I started this face. I couldn't fix it. All her right side wasn't good. So I glued the magazine image. You see here the trees, and I came out with some idea that I liked even more than the original work, um, uh, to make something unique out of it. Um, this image is not so uh, is not so cohesive with the background, but for now I leave it like this. This also was for the course Let's Face It 2020. Just random stuff here. I might work on it further. This is an example of something that turned out the way I really didn't like. I might do with this something. Okay, this I'll move on quickly. This is a very old sketchbook. I tried a lot of stuff here. This is I worked a few days ago. I like it. This is also just graphic, abstract, uh, just like the way it looks. Nothing. It doesn't have any topic or. This is also can be worked further. You see the piece of landscape here and here. This is also from an old magazine. This is also recently I see big change in the way I work. If I show you, this is was like a few years ago. It just this is self-portrait with the eyes closed and just touching the face and drawing. Just random stuff, gluing and um, drawing with my left hand. This is also, I can come back and work on it because it has a base layer that I like, and I can keep working with it. Also this is like 3 or 4 years ago. This is I think 2 years ago, in the middle of my journey with art journaling. This is also 2 years ago. And this was the point where I started adding more layers, and I played with it. Not always I liked the outcome, but I started playing with it. This is I practiced in portrait drawing. It's no without a reference. It's just from imagination, my imagination, trying to change sizes, a shape of the nose, of the mouth, playing with different type of faces. This is as well. Here was also one. This is also, I can come back and work on it. This is where I think I started using a lot of landscape images. It's my favorite thing, using landscape images in my art. Simple page, not my favorite, I would say. This is also experiencing some technique. This is also many pages here are just trying new techniques to see what I like. This one I like. It's not typical of what I do these days, but I like it. This one I came back a few days ago. It was what was in the page was these two images, and I started adding more layers. This is also an experiment. This is also, I might work on it further. This is very simple, very minimal, but this is jelly plate paper, monoprinting. Uh, this was an unsuccessful spread I came back to a few days ago and totally made a whole change, and I like it this way. This spread is one of my first videos I put into this channel. This is too way back when my work was, I could say, much simpler. This is also I painted for Let's Face It 2020. I had it here and then worked on the spread. This is a very old spread when I tried doing more of abstract faces. This one, I have a tendency to get into details very fast, so I'm practicing this to learn how to just make the minimum necessity for to give a sense of expression and feelings and personality. This is an old, very old work. This is an old page I worked on a few days ago. This is also very old. I think I will go back to work on it. This is an old page I revamped last week. This is also. This is the style I like the best with the portraits. It's not totally realistic, it's expressive. The colors are not necessarily natural. I might go back and do some work here to connect these two sides, but I might leave it as is. This is also something I revamped from like 4 years ago. This is very old too. I tried a lot of face styles, seeing what best for me. I think at this point, this style and this one are my favorite at the moment. The smaller you make a face, the less details you need to put in order to create an experience. This too I did a few days ago. This is an old one. Oh, I'll show you this. Okay. Now I'll show you a sample of how I collect scraps. Excuse me, my allergies. This might be a good image to work with. This might be nice. When you take out pieces and not in the content that they were initially were, you see that you can see it in new way. So I already took a few images. This face is very interesting. Some images can take all the focus of a page, so I will not cut them. It just thinks that in the size and the expression that I can connect with other things. So this one I will not take because it shows the whole experience. This might be good, not now. This can be good, even though the image is already telling a story. This piece I can take for the landscape, this area. Let me adjust the camera. It's getting darker outside. Okay. This piece I take not for the image, but for the color and pattern. This one, maybe this one. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful also. The color combination here is great. I can see how I can glue it in the side of a new spread. Also this. These kind of images help me to establish an horizon line in the work. This I'll take at 1.2 because I have enough paper already. I like the colors of these images. I might take them to one point to work with. This is to a great pattern. This is great color and somewhat pattern. Let's see this magazine. This is a psychology magazine. Let's see if we can find things here. This is funny. I can take writings. This is interesting. This is interesting as well. Not many images here. This can be used also. Let's see other magazine. A lot of my floral images and green images are from here. It's an old French magazine from 2002. I collect old magazines, old books, old postcards. Sometimes I use them as inspiration. Sometimes I pull out things from there. This I can use many pieces from here. From just this page to give a sense of nature, a window to nature in a spread. This is also beautiful. This image is beautiful. I might use it. This is fantastic. I can use the forest here, the tree, the wall of green bushes, parts of the house, the windows. Also this one. I probably will use beautiful, beautiful villa. The quality of the images is very good in this magazine. I can see how I can use many pieces from here. Also here, excellent photos. I just so enjoy this magazine. Okay, I think this is the basic. I don't have fashion magazine here. Usually I cut patterns of fabric to work in my journals. I don't have much, but if I can. Okay, now we have this. I can use the lower part as a texture image, probably without the hands, like this. And use her face like a focal point. Add some spread. This is great for texture and color. This is also a landscape with the horizon line. Also the color combination is great. Also can be used for the horizon line. This is patterns and colors. This would be used as a focal point, probably. Not probably. Must be used as a focal point. I try not to put a focal point that can steal the whole subject of the spread. But sometimes an image like this just need a background to support the message. In every image there is a message. This one, yes, it's like I can add I can imitate this to create art marks on a spread. This probably would be surrounded by other subject. It would be in the middle of something. Okay, thank you for watching this. I'll be streaming on the near future almost every day. I will try every day, mostly in European morning time. I hope you come and ask questions and let me explain and teach you the way I work with art journaling. Have a nice weekend and thank you. Goodbye.